Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. It's your host, Matt Heath. How you doing, folks? What's new out there? I got a great show for you. Kapish Joshi is on the show. You might not know him because he's a new comic on the scene. But he's making his rounds here in Connecticut. Well, not here in Connecticut. I'm sitting here in New York right now, in my pad on the Lower East Side, where my comedy operation is expanding to the NYC. I'm meeting some New York comics. But a little bit about Kapish. This guy is great, man. He is he's only 20 years old. He's not even of drinking age yet, and he's hitting up all these clubs. He's doing an awesome job. He's getting booked left and right, because he's got this almost like Jim Carrey, Robin Williams kind of quality about him. I just, I don't know. I just took a shining to the kid, and hopefully he comes down to New York to do the open mic rounds here with me. I'd definitely like to show him the city a little bit. What day is today? Today is a day where I am going to read you guys another Buddhist reflection, because I do not have any sponsors right now, so we're just going to look for some spiritual enlightenment. I would like some sponsors. If you'd like to sponsor the show yourself, you can hit up my Venmo at Thank You Masked Man, and send a few shekels my way. I'll give you a shout out on the show. Other than that, I'm still waiting on my old sponsor, and just looking for new ones in general. So if you'd like to have your business get a nice ad read on here, until then, some Buddhist reflections. Today's is: there are those who see right as wrong and wrong is right. These people are on the wrong path. Wow. There are those who see right as wrong and wrong as right. These people are on the wrong path. Wow. Doesn't get more, straightforward than that. I mean, I guess that's a Buddhist reflection. I feel like that's something that like a 3-year-old should know, but not a lot of people know that, I guess. So do the right thing. Do the right thing, like Spike Lee, right? Yeah, but I would have been one of the Italians that owns the pizza place in that movie. Oh, jeez. Anyways, what else can I say? Enjoy this interview with. One more thing. I'd stick around to the end of the episode because it's kind of falls in line with the Buddhist reflection thing. We talk a little bit about a religion, and we talk a little bit about meditation and how meditation is important as a comic. So stick around for the whole episode, man. This one's good. So please enjoy this interview I did with Kapish Joshi. Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. I'm sitting here today with my guest, Kapish Joshi.
Yes, hello, guys. Yes.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Am I the youngest one on here so far?
You are the youngest one on here, yeah. And you can ease up on the mic a little bit too. Really? Your face doesn't have to be right. Right, it's a Yeti, so it's kind of one of the ones that like record the room.
Oh, really?
So I got the internal mic going and so it's almost if you're like talking to the laptop or the mic, it's gonna record you.
I can ease out now.
Yeah. So
Is where you suck my dick for like...
No. You already bring up that you are like the youngest guy to probably be on the show so far.
Oof. Yes.
How old are you again, by the way?
So I was born in 2001, so I'm 20. 20 years old.
20 years old.
Yeah.
You're there's something about you, Kapish, that's you've been hitting the nightclub scene, you've been hitting stages.
Yep.
You just opened for CJ Cracks, right?
Yeah. That was Mo Green. He saw one of my open mics, and he decided to put me on a show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you count how many times you've been on stage so far?
I mean,
How long have you been doing it? How many months?
So I started in like early June, so probably I think this is like my 6th month, or it's not month.
So not even a year. It's like you're a little over 6 months.
Not even 2 months so far. Yeah.
Wow. It's there's something about you that I feel like you still have like the innocence of a kid. It's like the nightclub scene hasn't beaten the life out of you yet.
Yes, my anus is pure.
And there's something, I don't know, there's something exciting about that where it's like, when you look at like a guy like Eddie Murphy, he became famous when he was like 21, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, there's still a chance that the world might be kind to you.
Yeah, I know.
And you won't be hacking it away in nightclubs.
I'm lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, the thing is, like, before I started comedy, one of my, like, anxieties was I would be starting too late if I didn't do it now.
Right.
But then, like, now that I started, I realized, holy shit, like, a lot of people didn't even start until, like, their late 20s or, like, whatever.
Oh, 30s, 40s. People start at any point in their lives, really.
Exactly. So that kind of eased a little bit of my nerves.
It's
into the scene.
Yeah. We're not all like Dave Chappelle or Eddie Murphy who started when they were, like, teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like...
See, that's the thing is that a lot of my favorite comics like that started when they were, like Jim Carrey started when he was, like, fucking 15 years old.
Right.
So, like...
But do you think it was easier to get into clubs in Canada, like, back then? It's like, now that I feel like the way the world is set up, it's like, there's 2 drink minimums at these clubs, so it's like you're not even allowed in certain clubs under the age of 21,
Back then, there was only, like, a sliver of people. And then nowadays, it's like, anybody, like, I think a lot of people have done open mics at least once.
Yeah.
Or have tried it. It's one of those bucket list things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, back then was different for sure.
Yeah, but see, Rich Voss actually has a joke about that I love, where somebody's from the crowd's like, stand-up's on my bucket list. He's like, it's on your bucket list? He's like, something...
It's like one of those things that people are like, I gotta try it at least once,
But it's like, something I've worked towards my entire life. You just want to try it. You just want to give it a shot, like.
Yeah, I know. At that point, you're just inviting them on stage, and then they get like bombed. They bomb and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, back then was definitely easier. But I also think like nowadays, there's like, I wouldn't say there's more opportunities, but I think there's more like places. Like, I think comedy in general is more accepted as an art form.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely something to consider, where it's like, say in the 1980s, there was only hundreds of comedians. Now there's like thousands of comedians. You know?
Exactly.
But at the same time, to make it big is that much harder because there's that many people doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But, it also, like, you also got to define what it means to, like, make it big. For some people, it's like, you're getting paid to do this. And for some people, it's like, I got to be at the top. I got to be, like...
You know what's crazy? How long has TikTok been a thing? You would probably know this because you're young.
I'm not really sure because I'm actually not even into that TikTok thing. I know.
See, like, I feel like TikTok's been around for like a couple years, right? And people keep saying like, oh, like you'll get famous because of TikTok. And I'm like, what's this? It's like short little dancing videos?
Yeah, exactly.
But you know something? I got a TikTok yesterday and I put a few of my short videos I have on YouTube on it. And things that it took me like months to get hundreds of hits already have hundreds of hits on TikTok. So
yeah, that's the crazy thing about TikTok.
maybe there's something to it.
Well, I got one word for you: China. That's what it is, basically. I think, isn't it like one of the only apps that China's allowed to use that like the rest of the world is using? I'm not sure, but that's definitely one thing. But
TikTok's like globalization.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
but what makes it so that there's more views? Just because the way TikTok pushes the videos out there?
I think so. I think, yeah, there's just a lot more people. You think about it, like, I know a lot of Indian people use it as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in India. But if you think about it, India and China, their populations alone make up, like, what? Huge percentage of the world.
Yeah. But, you know...
So, like, it's pumping in quickly. And
now that I finally use it, now that I finally got one and I see what it's all about, though, it's like YouTube in a way, but it's like it's like a roulette of videos coming at you. It's like nonstop entertainment, really. You know?
Yeah, it's like someone said it. It was like it's like if ADHD was an app. That's what TikTok is, basically.
All right. See, I wanted a young guy like you to chop it up about TikTok, but really, I do want to talk about you, sir. I have to say, I noticed you at a mic an open mic that I hosted right before I filmed my comedy special.
I remember that, yeah.
And I was having a moment that night. It was probably I was tanking.
I think you were gone by the middle of by like the 10th person. You were gone.
What do you mean I was gone?
I mean, like I remember, like I came up to you and I was like, "Oh yeah, when am I on?" He's like, "I'm not even here right now, buddy." He's like, "You just get on stage, just go."
Well, the thing about that night was it was like right after I found out a girl I had dated died, and I'm like, and I'm like existentially like going through something like I'm about to film the special. I don't know if I should go through with it or not. And then like you come out of the woodwork, do a set, and you're friggin' hilarious, man.
Oh, thank you. And I don't know. That was really unexpected, honestly. It was just because that was my second performance, and
that was your second time ever on stage.
Yeah.
Where was your first?
So see, that's the thing. That's why I thought it was unexpected, because the first time I performed was at Cafe 9 the day before, and that didn't go so well. So this is
as Cafe 9 usually goes.
Yes, that's what I've learned. That's why I haven't been there.
Did Dan Cal White give you the big hook and pull you off, or
no? He was actually really nice about it. And I came off stage and I was like, "How was I for my first time?" He was like, "Yeah, you were great, man, great."
Wow.
And he gave me like his.
He must have not have been drunk yet.
I think that's why he tolerated me.
I'm sorry, that was a cheap shot at Cal White there. We love you, Cal White.
There you go.
Go to Cafe 9, open mic on Wednesday nights.
If you want to bomb, yes, go there. No, but it is a good mic. It's just the thing is, like, so that was the first time I ever performed. I was nervous as hell. I wanted to get it perfect. Went in there. No one was there yet. I came, like, really early. Like, that's the thing about me. If I get really nervous over something, I'll come like hours before I have to do it.
Right.
I'll get myself like amped up because that's how anxiety works for me. But
you know something that's good to have, that you already have like a good work ethic as a comic. You show up early, that way you could sit there and write for fucking hours.
Oh well, no, that's not even a thing. I don't even write.
No,
I just I have like a crisis I have a panic attack basically.
Yeah.
For about like 20 minutes before I go on, like I'm shaking, having a seizure, and then so I went there early, and the waitress was like, "Oh yeah, we have a list out." She hands me this sheet of paper, no one's name is on it. She's like, "You're the first one." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I think, all right, well, let me just go on fourth, third, whatever.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way, get it done with.
That's interesting. It's just on instinct alone. Like I remember when I read in Tommy Chong's like biography that like going fourth at an open mic is the perfect spot, and that's how I knew going fourth. Did you already know that?
There was some dude sitting at the bar that was like, "Yeah, you should go fourth, go fourth, go fourth." So I was like, "All right, I'll listen to the drunk guy." That makes sense.
Fourth is the sweet spot at an open mic.
Well, not at Cafe 9 because there's like about 50 people there. But
there really is no sweet spot at Cafe 9. It's really just like
after the fourth person, you're basically done. Like no one's paying attention to you. But yeah, so I signed up my name third, and like all of a sudden, the show starts. I'm ready. I'm amped up. Whatever. And the third person comes on. It's not my name. Fourth person comes on. It's not my name. So it's like, all right, well, rookie. I'm a rookie. Of course they're gonna kick me back. I understand.
right.
And then by the 20th person.
Oh, he just completely skipped you, huh?
No, it wasn't even completely skipped. I realized by like the 20.
He wasn't
person,
going by the list.
like,
The list they put out wasn't the list. He had a list in his notebook.
So I went up to him and he's
There
like,
you go.
"Oh yeah, we had a different list, buddy. I'm sorry." And so then I had to put my name 25th, and so I was completely thrown off my tracks.
Did it also shatter your confidence a little bit?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It did. It definitely did. It definitely
Really?
hit me right in the ass, and it was just like it was just so like random, and it kind of just threw me off. So then when I got up on stage, I was blubbering. I got nervous, and I was forgetting lines. I wasn't thinking properly.
Right.
And so then like I got off stage, and I was like, oh damn it, like. I was just like that, but thankfully, Dan said those nice words, and then there's also Ish, who was like, I was like, how did I do? And he's like, oh, don't ask me for feedback. I'm not good at that stuff, but just keep going.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. So then the next day, and that's when the elbow room happened, and that's why it was just so unexpected.
Yeah.
And everything.
And you killed it that night.
Yeah, I know. It was just like.
And then pretty soon you're already getting booked on the shows, like friggin' your first,
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know. I guess that's how Vishnu works, I guess.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I guess so. Are you, what religion is that?
That's Hinduism.
Are you Hindu? Is that,
Well,
am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, you are. You actually are. I am Hindu. It's better than saying, are you Indian? Because, that's...
Where does
my
your
religion.
family hail from?
So, my parents are from India, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my parents are from India. Came to America, I would say, like 2000, 1999, somewhere there.
Right.
When, like, all the Indians were migrating to America for, like, IT stuff and computers. But, yeah, that's when they came over. And, yeah, that's when I was born probably a year after.
Right.
In 2001. And, yeah, it's been like this ever since. But, yeah, I am Hindu, and, which is kind of funny because...
How do you feel about them 86ing Apu from The Simpsons?
Oh, what's that?
They took Apu off The Simpsons.
Well, actually, the thing is...
Did you see the documentary that dude made?
No? What happened? He just took it off?
Well, so this dude... who's like an Indian comic, made a documentary about how Apu is like so offensive to like Indian people that they actually like 86 like the character from The Simpsons.
Oh my god!
And this happened like,
and then they decided to make like a Big Bang Theory character who's pretty much the live action version of Apu with Raj. And I was like, all right, that's progress right there. But honestly, like I would say. Well, this is me personally. I'm not going to speak on all Indians. But, like, I don't know. Anytime anybody makes, like, any Indian jokes or anything, I don't really feel offended. Because, like, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't bother me for some reason.
Right.
I guess it's because it's, like, just so cliche. You hear the same common stuff like, oh, you eat curry, or, they talk in your accent or something like that,
Right.
Or, they do something like that. You own a gas station. It's like, yeah, all right, cool. So I don't really find it offensive,
But here's my thing with like this guy was like arguing like that Apu is like so offensive. He's like he's become like the stereotype character, and it really kind of like it really made it so The Simpsons like now all the minority characters are played by those minorities, and Apu is just virtually non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're just talking to a big Simpsons fan.
Well, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, too, because you say that, and then you're also having, like, you're having minority people playing, like, I remember, Mindy Kaling?
Right.
You know what Mindy Kaling is? The Office and all that.
Yeah.
She played Velma in Scooby-Doo, and people were like, she voiced Velma, and people were like, what the fuck?
Really?
This isn't right. Yeah, she did.
It's not, but it's not like she's got like a thick accent or anything.
Yeah,
it's like
she has the perfect accent.
I could see why her voice would be Velma.
But
like she's like a nerdy girl,
I
you
think
know.
still
Like
people find it offensive, I guess, because it's like, well, I guess I don't know how to say it. I'm not gonna say it was a good argument, but someone said, oh, if it was a white person playing like the same thing with Apu. It was a white person playing Apu, and it would be like outrage.
but it is a white person that plays Apu.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is that if that happened nowadays, people would like be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was the other way around, where a person of color is playing someone who's white, it's like, all right.
Well, here's my thing with Apu, and it's like this guy made this whole hour-and-a-half documentary about how offensive he is, all this yada yada yada. But like, he doesn't like ever take the time to notice that like, oh, like Apu is the one guy in Springfield that owns his own business and drives a nice car and has a big family and a beautiful wife and like
he's not mentally insane and
and he's not like just like a dumb oaf like the rest of the white characters in town.
He's a pretty sound guy.
So what's the deal with? I don't understand why he's so offensive then.
I don't know. See, that's the thing is, I guess there are certain Indian people like that, but like me personally, I'm not really. I don't really mind.
I think it has more to do with the fact that like growing up, that guy heard people do the Apu accent. Like people would like say shit about the 7-Eleven and like it's never ending.
They always
hearing
say the
that
accent.
shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where it's like when they use that character to like bully Indian people, then it's like I get it, and it's like it's been on television for 30 fucking years, and it's like all right, it's enough.
It is the stereotype. Well, actually, you have to also think about his perspective. He's a comic, right?
Right.
So if you think about it, he might be, I don't know if Hollywood does this anymore, but they probably do. But like they probably stereotyped him as an Apu character, so he might be. It might not even be that he's pissed at the character. He's probably pissed at what the character has done for Indians in his life, and it's probably gotten him like some shitty auditions.
No, because it's more about representation than it is about the character itself.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, a lot of the Indian characters I've seen in general are just like sort of nerdy and shit like that.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think Apu, in comparison to like some of these characters, is actually
Apu seems to get laid more than like any of the other characters in Springfield. I thought, at least when he was single. I don't know. See, it's the fact that it's like when you talk to somebody who's watched as much of that cartoon as I am, and it's like
I can't really relate. See, I grew up on SpongeBob. There's a bunch of different races in SpongeBob, I guess you could say.
SpongeBob, I feel like, is more about like getting sexual jokes like into the minds of like children like under the radar.
Oh no, that wasn't just SpongeBob. That was just Nickelodeon in general. You got guys like Dan Schneider working, directing everything.
Right.
He would try to slip in the feet videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean that's just that. No, I mean not even.
So what's you grew up in Milford?
Yeah, I grew up in Milford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Probably the most ideal suburban town of all time.
Right. I went to the University of New Haven, so I know of like
UNH,
the area pretty well. Yeah.
I actually, my dad owned a diner in West Haven.
Which one was that?
The Elm Diner.
Oh, yes. I've been there plenty of times. Yeah,
exactly.
See, it's West Haven is like known for the diners too. It's like there's 5 diners
Dutch's,
in West Haven. It's great.
What's the other one? Oh, what's the other one? There's Dutch's Elm Diner. There's another one that's a really popular one, and oh Jesus!
What's the luncheonette? The luncheonette spot. Did you mention that one?
No. Is that
the one that's like across from the grocery store there?
Oh, I can only think of Coles.
I don't see. I'm having a tough time like picturing.
But I definitely know where UNH is. Actually, Wait, what am I saying? I went to Notre Dame West Haven.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All
right
right,
across
there
from
you
you.
go.
There you go.
Notre Dame. There you go.
Yeah, waste
So,
of money.
you know what's weird? It's like I was in college at the same time as you were a fucking little kid.
Yeah. Oh, well, that kind of... You got to kind of put that together. You gotta put it
In the same town, basically.
Yeah. Well, when did you go to college then?
I graduated college in 13.
2013. Yeah. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I was town down. And Milford has changed a lot. And I think just Southern Connecticut in general has changed.
You know what
A
place I
lot.
loved in that Milford area is in Orange. There was a comic book store called Clockwork Comics.
That's still there.
You ever go there?
No,
No?
but it's near a good. It's near a good ramen place. That's all I can say.
I thought you were like a comic book nerd. No.
I mean, I'm into like I'm into the movies. I'm not gonna say like comic books because kids my age didn't read.
No.
But no, I was into the movies for sure. Like
Yeah.
the whole MCU thing, Spider-Man, Sam Raimi,
Yeah.
all that.
We
stuff.
got the whole running gag where I call you Mr. Aziz and I'm
Aziz,
Parker.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I fire you. Rip the sticker off your helmet or whatever.
Well, I don't know. That's funny to me because I worked for a Domino's and it was like all Indian. Like it was a Domino's over in East
Yeah.
Hartford and it's all Indian dudes.
You know what's
that run
funny about that
Domino's.
too is my dad. So my dad, he does a lot of jobs. He's owner of a couple of restaurants. One of the restaurants he owns is a pizza shop in New Hampshire.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he owns that. So I guess he is the real life
Mr. Aziz.
There you go.
No, you know it's funny about that pizza place in Spider-Man. That's a real pizza place. Like
Joe's Pizza.
Yeah. It's
I know about
that's a
Joe's
famous
Pizza.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked into Joe's Pizza. Their biggest picture is like Tobey Maguire. With
Were you upset when it wasn't all Indian dudes working in there? You were like, "It's nothing like the movie."
Well, I mean, to be honest, there got to be Italian people if they're gonna make Joe's Pizza. It's gonna make sense if the guy back there is like, his name is Muhammad.
Why do you think they made that choice for Spider-Man to make like the?
Yeah, and you know what? I think that guy. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if he's Italian or something, like the actual actor, but yeah, I don't know why they did that. I think it was. Yeah, Sam Raimi probably wanted some sort of joke in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was great. It was great. Great movie, by the way.
You know, you remind me of when I was your age. Because I started when I was 21.
Yeah.
And I was the guy that would bring like memoirs of comedians around the clubs and stuff. And I remember meeting with this one guy that used to run the shows at the Funny Bone, Jerry Woolley. And I met him for a drink at Hooters one night, and I'm sitting there
perfect.
reading Steve Martin's memoir, Born Standing Up.
Oh, that one right there?
Oh, it's got the same cover as that album.
Yeah. I have that book.
It's a really good book. Have you read it yet?
No, because it's taken me about like half a year to finish this Robin Williams autobiography. But it's just
Is it an autobiography?
Oh no, sorry, not autobiography, biography. But
Oh.
it's like it's real in depth. Like
Yeah.
it's not just he did this, he did Good Morning Vietnam, he did Aladdin, he did
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that because I wanted to talk to you about the
really?
Robin
Yes,
Williams
yes,
book.
yes.
But so the Steve Martin, I'm sitting there with Jerry talking. We're talking about a show we're possibly going to cook up.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the Steve Martin memoir when he walks in, and he looks at me and he looks at the bartender like they're at Hooters, and he's like, quit trying to impress people with that Steve Martin book. Do you think any of these bimbos care about Steve Martin?
Yeah. I realized that. I realized that too. Is that like, well, I'm into Jim Carrey a lot, and I think a lot of people know that. A lot of my friends know that. So, when we're...
Clearly you're inspired by Jim Carrey I could tell from one of your opening jokes and the closing joke. Well, obviously the one where you talk out of your ass.
Yeah.
But there's this one joke where you're like, I need to meditate, and you scream,
Yes.
and you're like... And that is just like
Jim Carrey.
a Jim Carrey joke
Exactly.
from back in the day.
Yeah. Well, actually, I remember. I think I did get the idea for that. I remember he did something like that. Like he was like, what did he do? He was at an
it's
awards-
almost the opposite of that. I remember he did a joke where he's like, he gets on stage and he's like, I'm not going to be able to get through the rest of the night unless I hear from you, the audience, your most blood-curdling scream.
Oh, yes,
so he gets the audience to scream, and then he's like, you know how much that turns me on?
that was his Tom Jones impression. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then, one time he did that, and like people were like, "Yeah!" And he's like, "I told you to scream, not hang yourself."
Yeah. And so, we got to start talking about comedy book because you're one of the few comedians I have had on the podcast. Actually, probably the only one so far.
Yeah.
That's read all these comedy memoirs and stuff.
Well, the thing about me is, I am a big fan of comedy. Like,
you're a comedian, but you're also a comedy nerd.
Yeah.
Which I'll tell you is like it's gonna take you longer to get places because. You know something? You can't be the cool guy at the club when you're fangirling over comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rocks here.
And I'm just speaking from experience. But no, that Jim Carrey book that we were talking about the other day, amazing, right?
Yeah, it was wild. I do have to read it another time because I think it would be better. I think I'd get more from it if I read it a second time. But yeah, that book was really good, and it was just perfectly Jim Carrey. Like I the thing about me, I'm a fucking you're right. I'm a comedy nerd, and like Jim Carrey is like my saint. So I basically knew everything about him in terms of like biography wise.
What's
so
great
I was kind of glad he didn't do that.
Right. What's great about that book is like it's none of what you expected, but almost all of what you expected because there's no way he's gonna pull back the curtain and show you what he's really like.
I mean, the thing is like he's pulled back the curtain a few times,
right?
And like and the funny thing is like whenever he does, and I watch these videos, whenever he pulls back the curtain. People just like laugh,
right?
But you could tell on the inside, like he's smiling, but I feel like on the inside he's like, "I'm telling you the truth. There, you guys are laughing at me. Like, you guys don't understand." Like, there was this one where the Golden Globes was a great one. He walked up on stage in front of all these A-list celebrities: Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks.
Right.
He walks up and he's like, "Yes. I'm 2-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey. Yes, I am."
Is that when he was like really bearded and everything?
He had a beard. Yeah. He was just mocking the Golden Globes. He's like, what else did he say? He said something like, and every single day I have a nice shut eye, hoping that I will be 3-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey. And everybody just was like, everybody was laughing. But I think everybody knew, this guy's full of shit, too.
Yeah.
And I like that.
But that was almost like, was that like shortly, I think that was like shortly after Man on the Moon, he did that and everything. Did you ever see Man on the Moon?
I saw Man on the Moon. I saw the documentary, Jim and Andy. And
did you ever read Zmudis's book, Andy Kaufman, Finally the Truth?
No, I didn't read Zmudis's book, but...
You need to read this book.
Did he say anything about Jim Carrey?
You know something?
I feel like Zmuda kind of liked Jim Carrey. Right. But he also saw in him that, this guy kind of this guy's trying to be Andy too much.
No. What you got to do is read the book because you'll realize that, like, without Zmuda, like, Man on the Moon might not have worked. Because Andy Kaufman, to become Kaufman, like he really needed Zmuda to make him think that he was Kaufman, where it's like...
Well, yeah, it was funny. I feel like Zmuda did that first and then everybody got on board and shit.
Right.
But it was wild. Did you hear about the prank that Zmuda and Jim Carrey played on Hugh Hefner?
Yes, that's a whole chapter in... That's a whole chapter in Kaufman, Finally the Truth.
Exactly, yeah. I mean... Yeah, that movie was like really good, and even the documentary I thought personally was better.
What if they turned Carrey's memoir into a movie? That would be interesting.
That
right?
would be. I think he talked about doing that.
Yeah.
But
I would love that. That whole part is so heartwarming about the children's movie where Rodney Dangerfield comes back as a rhino and he wears a red tie and everything.
Yeah.
And and he thinks he's alive because he's in this CGI world. It's great. I love it.
Well, that's what he was talking about. Like they could probably bring back anyone for these movies. Like I remember they did that for Paul Walker for the Fast and Furious 7?
Yeah.
Like after he died. So it was they could do that to anyone. So you basically, he was saying, you have no rights for yourself. You have no, they own you, basically. Hollywood owns you once you get there and you get into the movies and everything. And so you have no, you have no control of your own property.
Yeah.
Of your own self, of your own individual character.
Well, I always thought it was strange how it's the first time you see Princess Leia in the movie Star Wars, she's a hologram. And then the last time you see her, she really is a hologram.
It is wild. It is wild. But see, that's the thing. And this is why Hollywood, this is a little bit the upsetting part about Hollywood is that, see, I feel like when these actors get old, they get up there, I don't really think they want to go through the movie thing. They've already done everything, right? I heard, man, they're making an Indiana Jones 5 with Harrison Ford, just just this old dude. Oh, I'm Indiana Jones. And
but I don't mind. I don't mind that. I still enjoy it. Burt Reynolds was an old man when Sandler came out with his version of The Longest Yard, but I still enjoyed it.
Well, I think but there's a lot of them who I feel like you can see that they really have no passion for it. One guy, I remember Jack Nicholson. Everybody's like, "Where's Jack Nicholson? Where's Jack?" This dude, no one will leave him alone. I bet there's still a lot of movie offers for him, but he's kind of just I don't want to do anything. I gave up on that shit.
It's I'm good. It's how much do you have to do before you're satisfied and you don't it's I don't have to be in the spotlight anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No matter how much people want you in the spotlight. And yeah, I think a lot of people just got to understand that. And have you seen Jack Nicholson recently? He's
no, I have.
He's a very different Jack Nicholson, I'll say. The hairline's finally
all the way back.
All the way back there now.
Oh, that's kind of scary. I don't even know if I want to see that.
Yeah, you shouldn't look it up. But yeah, I mean that's the thing is, I love Harrison Ford. Great, whatever. Indiana Jones. Is he gonna capture the same magic he did in the 80s though? No. He's gonna be and also seeing those people get old is kind of sad. So just to perpetuate it by putting them in the movies and stuff, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me.
Right. No. I honestly, what's weird is that the Jim Carrey book, and then the Norm Macdonald book, which is also completely fiction.
Yeah.
There's a whole chapter he has that's a tribute to Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, well, Rodney Dangerfield, I mean, according to a lot of people, was that guy who helped start up a lot of careers. Sam Kinison, Jim Carrey. He liked Norm Macdonald. Bill Hicks,
right? Yeah,
he started a lot of people's careers.
Yeah, Sam Kinison, Roseanne, fucking all those people.
Is Dangerfield still open? Is that still a club?
They actually just shut down Dangerfield's a few months ago because of the pandemic. I don't know if it's going to get brought back at some point, but I never had the pleasure of doing Dangerfield. But even in death, the man gets no respect. I mean, come on,
I get no respect. What is this?
Hey, boy, I tell you.
I tell you. My mom never breastfed me. She liked me as a friend.
Boy, I tell you. I got a dog named Egypt. She leaves pyramids in every room.
Jeez. Yeah, I loved Rodney. And he got the perfect, gimmick, too. Perfect everything. And, but and he found his success late on, so rock on.
Right.
One of
So
his
let's
inspirations.
talk about a little bit about Robin Williams, because you're like halfway through this fucking huge Robin Williams book, and obviously you're pretty inspired by him. The way you kind of like go in and out of characters, like
yeah, I would
rapid
say like
fire
I
on
would say my
stage.
two big inspirations are Jim Carrey and Robin Williams for
Right.
sure. But yeah, that Robin Williams, man, like he honestly, like even his wife says it. He didn't really kill himself. Like he did kill himself, but what I'm saying is, it was like his mind had gone so blank that it was basically just like he had no control. He wasn't even there when he died. Basically, he was pretty much gone, in a sense.
That's so sad.
It is sad,
But you know what's crazy is that a lot of his movies like have the theme of suicide in them.
Yeah, and you know what? But the funny thing about that is like, I wouldn't say funny thing. I would say the sad thing about that is like when he did die, and when he did, when that whole thing happened, the whole tragedy of him passing away happened. Everybody was like, "Oh, now I get it." Like everybody sort of realized, "Oh, it was always sort of there."
But I think, and here's my 2 cents on Robin Williams' suicide. It was
Courtney Love.
No, I think he committed suicide because he missed Jonathan Winters so much. If you look up when Jonathan Winters
Jonathan Winters died the same year, right?
No, he died the same date a year prior.
Wow.
The exact same date. So tell me that's not a fucking coincidence.
It could be a coincidence. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of factors, I think, though, that played into that. I don't think it was. I think Jonathan Winters might have been one reason, but I also think at the time Robin Williams, he wasn't really doing that hot. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't casting him anymore.
Is that true though? He was fucking working like up until he died. Like I feel like
actually,
look at his career overall though. He's like fucking like he never stopped working,
Yeah, that's the thing is that, but like, in a sense, I think, Robin Williams is Robin Williams. His mind will go like 10,000 steps ahead of himself,
Yeah.
So he probably thought, I'm over, I'm done. No one wants to cast me. It's done. I'm a wash up. There's no point of me being here. So he probably thought all those things.
But he didn't have that part of his brain like Jack Nicholson where it's like, well, I'm old. I can finally relax now.
Yeah, I don't. Well, actually, see, that's the thing. There's some people like that, and then there's some people who aren't like that.
Yeah.
I think some people are they're like, all right, I did enough. I can sort of ease back. But I don't think Robin Williams is probably the complete other side of that, which is I have to be doing something. I have to be doing.
Otherwise, I'm useless. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
well, it's like no, I can see other like comics that are like that. Like Conan O'Brien, like I feel like can never like he's like a comedy machine, man. Like, do you think he could ever not be doing anything?
No, and honestly, I don't want him to stop doing anything.
Yeah,
because and the thing is, he even says it himself. Like, even when he's not doing comedy, he's still doing bits and stuff. Like I saw him on a podcast.
Yeah.
What was it? It's like the Smartless podcast with like Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, Sean Hayes, and it's like he was like, even when I'm not doing comedy, I'm not doing the show, I'm still doing bits at home in the mirror. My wife will be like, "Why are you talking to yourself in the bathroom?" and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's Conan O'Brien." And I feel like that's a little bit of me too.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have to be doing comedy, but I'm a person who has to be doing something.
Right.
Because, like, I can't sit alone in my own thoughts for too long.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, I'm a very light sleeper. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really love sleeping. I get tired and stuff like that, but, like, when I like even slightly wake up, I'm like, boom, out of bed.
Yeah.
Because I just can't do it, But I always have to be doing something, and I think that's maybe like ADHD. Maybe Robin Williams had ADHD.
What's your favorite Robin Williams movie?
Me?
Have you ever seen World According to Garp?
No, I haven't seen a lot of his like. I haven't seen stuff like
Dead Poets Society.
I've seen Dead Poet Society. I would say, I don't want to say the cliche answer, Good Will Hunting, but that
one's really good.
Phenomenal.
Though. I mean,
that one
it's a good movie. So
yeah. Good Will Hunting.
Well, I knew what a big Williams fan you were, so I want to lend you.
Yes?
I got that
unbelievable!
I got World According to Garp on DVD, and that's like my favorite Williams movie right there.
Really?
So
when was this? This was
that was actually his first movie. And
this was after Popeye. Or was it after Popeye?
I think it was before. I think it's his first movie, and it was filmed actually like in Connecticut, like on an island. Yeah, and I actually read the book too. That movie's based on. The book is really good too, but that movie is like fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
John Lithgow's in it.
Oh really?
Yeah,
John Lithgow's
man.
Yeah, I can't wait to pop this in my DVD player.
Yeah. Do you have a DVD player?
No, I don't.
You don't have a fucking DVD player.
Well, actually, I think I do.
You're gonna have to buy a DVD player just to watch that movie.
I mean, I have an Xbox.
There you go. There you go. You got the Xbox.
Yeah, that's what we all have nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, I also love Aladdin. Oh, that's the thing. Like, I love the whole voice acting thing, and in general, it's not even Aladdin. Have you ever seen the movie Robots? It's like this.
Yeah, I've seen Robots. That movie came out when I was a kid.
I watched this one scene on YouTube, and it was so good. And it was just him voice acting. Even him in Happy Feet.
Yeah.
That movie's shit.
Yeah.
But he's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like that's awesome.
But like what's weird? It's like you kind of like get his like how like what a shitty job it is to be a voice actor in the movie Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
you're trying to do what you want to do, and then they're like, you should stick to script. By the way, don't do that. Don't improv, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good movie as well, Mrs. Doubtfire, and voice acting in general. I don't like voice acting. To me, would be definitely interesting, but I feel like nowadays I feel horrible for voice actors because voice actors a lot of the times it used to be in the past they would get cast for these animated movies.
Right.
Nowadays, it's like, all right, let's find
the biggest celebrity.
Let's find The Rock.
Yeah.
He'll do all these manly voices. Oh, let's find John Cena. He'll do this, whatever.
Yeah.
So they'll just find the biggest A-list celebrity to do the voice. And it's kind
but then when they make it into like a Saturday morning cartoon series, then the voice actor gets the job.
Even Saturday morning cartoons have turned into that too.
Yeah.
Like they just take a bunch of like established Nickelodeon stars, put them on these new shows, whatever, and yeah, I mean it's like that basically.
Oh, so you are already a little jaded towards the business.
You couldn't tell.
You're only 20 years old,
I'm a Jim
man.
Carrey fan. Of course I am. Yeah, no. I kind of know a little bit. You know, I'm a little afraid to say something because they could just find it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think they already have enough material to cancel me. Listening to, they're probably tapping into my.
Well, he did Matt Heath's podcast, so this guy's out.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jim Carrey movie?
Oh Jesus, there's a lot, but I would say, like the one that just like, there's just certain movies that they're just a part of your DNA and your blood, and it has to be The Mask. That one was life-changing for me.
Why The Mask? You know what's crazy? I just watched The Mask for the first time in a long time with my niece the other day.
Yeah.
And it's so weird watching it with like a kid, and you're like,
there's a lot of shit, a lot of mature shit going on. Like basically, listen, I'll tell you a funny story. My dad. So I used to be a huge fan of The Mask, right?
Right.
When I was like 3, 4, and it was like, I was insane. Like I would watch the movie, and then afterwards I'd spin around like The Mask.
Yeah.
You know, stealing shit. And
you know what's a nice subtle thing about him spinning around in that movie? Where it's like, if you notice, he's got a Tasmanian devil pillow on the couch, and that's why he spins around. Like Tasmanian
he also has the wolf, and then in the the Coco Bungo Club.
Yeah.
Which is a great name for a club, by the way.
No, it's the Coco was it Coco Bongo?
Yeah.
I thought it was the same name as the club from I Love Lucy. That's why they.
I think it's used in multiple movies.
Yeah,
it's used in another Jim Carrey movie too, The Majestic.
The Coco Cabanga, or did I?
Well, I think it's a real place though.
I think it is too, but I think it's the club that because he was a fan of I Love Lucy. I think that's why.
Oh, really?
I think
that whole movie is basically just like old school Hollywood. It's basically
old Hollywood and cartoon fantasy. It's great, right?
Yeah. You got the Hispanic dance number. You
right.
know, it's perfectly for I Love Lucy. It's like definitely.
So I'm watching that movie with my 12-year-old niece, and the things that it kind of bothered me watching it a little bit. That I'm like, well, he's not really a superhero. He's more of the villain. He's definitely the villain.
He's a little bit of an anti-hero, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is sort of. Well, that's the thing about the movie is you can see his mask character progresses. Because at first it's just I'm gonna cause mayhem. I'm gonna steal this girl.
Right.
Kiss her without her consent. All that shit. And then by the end of it, it's sort of all right, he has to be the hero.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the whole movie's message is you try to be these you have a face you show the world, and then you have a face that you sort of keep to yourself, and it's these two things aren't bad; they're the same thing.
You remember that part where he's the Frenchman, Pepe Le Pew?
That is.
It's I feel like it doesn't date well because I'm watching it with my niece and my father too. The three of us are just sitting there, and I'm just turning to her and I go, "He's kind of a creep, huh?" She just goes, "You think?"
Exactly. But I mean, that. The funny thing about that was when I was a kid watching that movie, my dad actually hid the CD from me because he was scared that I turn into this green hitman who just sexually assaults women and steals from the bank and
because it was teaching you bad things.
Oh yeah, and I mean, look how I turned out though.
But the one other part of the movie I found interesting was when he's trying to put the mask on for Ben Stein's character, and he can't put on the mask because it's in the daytime or whatever.
Yeah.
And
he's it must be a night thing.
And my niece is cracking up, and then she turns to me. She goes, "Why are you laughing, Uncle Matt? This part's so funny." And I was like, I'm just imagining this is what Jim Carrey actually does in his therapist appointments.
He probably does. Well, I remember I watched the podcast with he was on the Norm Macdonald show.
Right.
And that was pretty insane.
In the old one on YouTube or the one that was on Netflix?
No, I don't think he was on the one on Netflix. I think he just did the normal one.
Right, the one that was back on YouTube.
It was crazy. It was crazy because this was.
You can't find those old episodes anymore.
No, actually, the Jim Carrey one's on. I think it's on Vimeo or Daily Motion. That's where you got to go to find all the
old Norm
shit.
Oh, the old Norm stuff. All right.
Yeah, and I think one of the videos, the Super Dave Osborne one, is on YouTube. And that one's the best Norm Macdonald podcast ever. That one's amazing.
So what about the Jim Carrey one?
Oh, the Jim Carrey one was... So this was basically after, everybody was like, oh, this dude's crazy. He's having an existential crisis. And he didn't really help himself in the podcast. Because he was kind of he was throwing mugs down. The logo Norm Macdonald show in front of the desk?
Yeah.
He went up to it, ripped it off, and shit like that. He told someone, oh yeah, keep your dog back or else I'll punt it. And shit like that. He was sipping water off of the table and shit like that.
Yeah.
And and the funny thing is, people are Norm probably Norm hated him. Norm was done with his shit. Norm's tweet afterwards: Jim Carrey is still a gut buster. Watch this episode right now. And I was like, I feel like Norm was.
So it was all intentional, probably.
Intentional. I mean, there were definitely funny moments in it, but then there was moments where Norm couldn't control it at all, and stuff like that. And Adam Egget was just there, kind of out of his mind too.
Yeah.
But
I gotta check this one out.
Yeah, I mean, literally on YouTube, you can search up Jim Carrey, Norm Macdonald. There's whole video. It's not the whole podcast, but it's It's like Jim. The title of the video is "Jim Carrey is unbearable on Norm Macdonald."
Really? All right.
Yeah.
I gotta check this.
I looked at the whole comment section.
But I feel like it's intentional though, because it's like Norm Macdonald and Jim Carrey. The way their books are, they're so fucking parallel that I feel like the two have to be fucking
It's a Canadian
in on a joke together. Yeah, like totally.
Know. But like I feel, I feel like I mean. Looking at it, people want to make assumptions about it. I was reading the comment section for that video. People are like, "Oh, Jim is crazy. He's insane. Norm hated him." I was like, "Norm looks
I
fine."
think he's just doing some kind of Andy Kaufman shit where he's just trying to fucking like.
I mean, he's been doing that his whole career.
Yeah.
Basically. Actually, the crazy thing about Jim Carrey is if you watch a lot of his like early stuff. So this is when he was like an impressionist kid, like my age. He's actually really like. He's actually not even funny at all. Like, he's sort of sound.
Right.
He's sort of like, he's like it's almost like he's like super clean. He's like sort of dorky in a sense.
Right.
But then I feel like once In Living Color happened, that's when like
he
kind of kicked open the door and was like, yeah, I'm a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
And that's when like he sort of, his confidence.
Totally. You like watching those old In Living Color episodes?
Oh yeah, I still watch them. Oh my god, and listen, this is I don't want to say anything bad about SNL just for the future.
Right.
But it's definitely a great show. That and Mad TV, phenomenal sketches. But In Living Color was really, really good. And it still holds up.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't say it holds up. I think in terms of how funny it is, it holds up. But I think if it was happening today, it would have definitely been canceled and stuff like that. And people would have found... Because there's a character in Living Color played by... You know who Damon Wayans is, right?
Yeah, right. Of course.
Oh, Jesus. He plays this character. It's like Super Handicap Man or something like that.
I don't remember that
one. It's basically... This like it's basically like a handicapped Superman.
Yeah.
Who just like oh
my god. You know what? I think I do remember that one actually.
He walks with a limp. He has the handicap logo on his shirt, and instead of flying out of the window, he sort of like falls over the window and falls down. Then like
you know what? One of my
most crazy. It's funny,
yeah,
but it's definitely
no. I mean, probably not. You know what character I loved from In Living Color was Chris Rock's character, Cheap Pete.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like talking to a prostitute or something, she'd be like, $300 for the night. How much if I just rub against your leg like a doll? I just thought that shit was so funny.
Well, the Chris Rock, I thought he was on SNL during that time, but I think he like showed up to In Living Color a couple of times.
Yeah, I think he was like a guest on In Living Color, but I think he was a cast member on Saturday Night Live though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he was, I think in Saturday Night Live he was a writer.
Right.
He's like, yeah, this is kind of fucking shit. And then he sort of went like, all right, In Living Color, definitely, I'm actually doing what I want to do and stuff like that. But In Living Color, man, so many great characters. Homie the Clown, that one was a great one too. Damon Wayans basically played this clown who like he would be with little kids.
Well, let's dial back our love of sketch comedy because I know Homie the Clown.
This one is gonna go very in depth. In Living Color.
Let's focus on you for the next couple minutes because I feel like we've talked a lot about all the shit we like and how nerdy we are.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you. Like fucking. You went to college, UConn?
I'm still going.
You're still in college?
Yeah, I'm about to go into my third year.
What are you getting your degree in?
Oh yeah, so getting my degree in finance. Very funny.
Is this something your parents pushed you into doing?
Actually, it was just sort of like I saw my friends doing it, and I was like, all right, whatever, easy money. Then I realized, well, that's not the way to happiness. And so then I kind of like, I think I might switch to marketing because I feel like that would make more sense.
You're just going to become a banker, just like Jim Carrey's father.
Exactly. And then get fired when I'm 60 years old. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
And then my son will be a world famous comedian. There you go.
Did you listen to Jim Carrey's episode he did with Marin?
Yeah.
That one's great, right?
That one's a good one.
You learn a lot about him in that.
Yeah, I know. And I listened to the one where he was on Conan. The Conan one, he was a little bit more funny. I feel like Mark Maron kind of got more out of him. I think Mark Maron in general just gets more out of a lot of people.
Well, Conan spends too much time joking around.
Yeah, he's more about let's do bits.
Yeah,
you know, let's do funny things.
Nah,
you know?
And Mark Maron actually wants to fucking like learn about people.
Have you seen the WTF podcast with Robin Williams? That one was like,
Yep.
You know, it was pretty like interesting. Like,
it was
wasn't
interesting.
The crazy Robin Williams. It was like,
well, they did it at Robin Williams' house and everything, right? And he talks about like the toy soldiers and everything that like Robin Williams was obsessed with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's not go into.
Well, you got anything like that? Like, do you have like the way he's fixated on toy soldiers or whatever?
I relate to both of them kind of well. Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, I relate to because I was sort of like I was a little bit of an outsider kid. I wasn't, I think only up until high school, I didn't really have a lot of friends, and if I did, it would be like one year they'd be like, "Hey, Kapish." Next year, I'd see them, I'd be like, "Hey, man," and they'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?" You know, stuff like that, and people would just completely forget me like that, and so, but like when I was a kid, I was mainly doing shit by myself. I sort of learned, I don't know, I guess I just liked doing my own shit when I was younger. Like,
right.
I have this vivid imagination, like crazy imagination, and I used to come up with like characters. I used to take my stuffed animals and make them characters, or I remember my parents always made fun of me for this, but I used to like take like a plate and I used to pretend like I was driving and shit, so it'd just be like this 4-year-old kid running around the house with a plate, sort of like pretending like he was like driving a car. I had an imaginary wife, imaginary son named Carl, just the most random name ever. But yeah, like I did relate to him in that sense. Like, I didn't really have. I'm sort of lucky and fortunate. I grew up in the right at the end of kids were still playing with toys, playing outside. Right before technology became like a staple for every single kid under the age of 10. But I was sort of like doing that. I was sort of coming up with characters, imagination, and stuff like that. So I related to him in that sense for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wasn't in school. I was mainly an outsider, I would say. And in fact, the first thing when I went into kindergarten class, because I didn't really have a lot of experience with other people until when I was 5 years old. So I was doing shit mainly with my family, with my brother. When I went into school, the first thought I had when I walked into kindergarten class was like, oh shit, no one's my skin color. I was like, damn, no one's like me. And as a kid, you don't know what's going on, right?
Right.
So you probably thought like, oh damn, I feel sort of different from everyone. So that's sort of like how I felt in school and throughout my school, But like I said, it was like, I didn't really care because at least I went home and did my own thing, and and I still had a friend for sure, and I think that friend still feels the same way as well. We sort of have this mutual thing where we're the only people like out of everyone we've ever been friends with, we're the only ones that have sort of stayed by each other, which I think is more fulfilling than the kid who's like popular in school and has like everybody wants to be their friend, I just, that's me personally. I think it's just better if you just have that one guy you could rely on.
Right.
And it's sort of mutual. That's sort of how I've been.
One thing, because Carrey and Robin Williams both really in the transcendental meditation. You into meditation at all?
Yes, I am, actually. Yeah. I'm into that stuff. I'm into the spiritual stuff, and I kind of had to do it. Because I would say last year was sort of a tough year for me.
Is meditation already something that like Hindus do? Does that come from Hindu culture at all?
It's yoga, and a lot of yoga. I don't know if meditation comes from India specifically, but I know a lot of Indian people do meditation. A lot of the spiritual leaders around the world are like Indians.
Right.
And yeah, I'm into the spiritual stuff. Like I'm into manifestation, I'm into meditation, and I'm into like you can have it if you want it, and if you believe it enough, it could happen.
Right.
So I definitely do believe that stuff. I do believe in that spiritual stuff, and I definitely do that stuff. Which is kind of surprising because I feel like no other 20-year-old kid is sort of sitting with his eyes closed, deep breathing for 20 minutes. But I honestly think a lot of people should do that.
Yeah.
I
agree.
It's a great
I think
thing.
meditation. If I was more what's the word for it?
Like discipline.
If I was more disciplined about meditation,
Yeah.
I'd probably be happier.
Well, see, that's the thing. I meditate like every morning.
So you meditate every day?
Yeah. I do like this manifestation meditation.
Really?
Yeah. And every single day I wake up and that's the first thing I do. And I think it's a good way to start your day.
You write down the things you want?
Well, not necessarily write down. I think them. I say them to myself, stuff like that. And it's a good way to start your day. And I think it definitely builds into a habit because if I don't do it, I sort of feel crummy. Like, I should probably do this,
Right.
But, I mean, I would say everyone should be doing it. Because it is really like, to me, what meditation is, it's sort of like, it is that deep breathing. You're taking a deep breath from life.
Right.
Like when I do my joke, the funny thing is when I do that meditation joke you were talking about, the one
Right.
where I scream.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that to me is actually me kind of meditating on stage before I perform.
Yeah.
Because I get up on stage, I'm anxious as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess up. When I do that
Yeah.
meditation thing, I'm like, all right, I'm better now.
But isn't it
Even though
crazy
it's a
how
joke.
you did think of the joke, but it's just like a Jim Carrey joke that I said in reverse.
Yeah. Well,
Because he probably felt the same way when he got the audience to scream and then go, you know how much I get off on that? Because
Yeah.
he really did, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. And I remember like my mom was like, yeah, maybe you should do a joke about your anxiety or your nerves. And I was like, oh, maybe. And then literally that joke you're talking about, I didn't write that shit.
Right.
Right before I was about to go up, I was thinking, let me do that. Let me try that.
Okay. So it's just something you kind of like.
Yeah, and it's a perfect starter.
Yeah.
It's like you're in for a wild ride with this dude right here. Like, what you're expecting. As an audience member, you know what this dude's going to bring.
Right.
He's sort of bringing that craziness to it. And it also relieves me as well. So it was just like, I don't know. It was kind of like a perfect thing for me.
There you go. All right. Well, I think we're almost wrapping up here.
Yes.
Let me just actually plug this book real quick because we've been talking about Robin Williams this whole time. I want to recommend this book to you. Robin Williams' American Master by Stephen Spignesi. He was my college professor. I wanted to throw that out to the audience there.
So wait, what's the difference between that and the big biography?
That the one you were reading had a big New York Times write up about it.
Yeah.
So
it's sort of like mainstream.
That one's mainstream. While
is this one more like intimate?
I don't know because I haven't read either of them. But I just know
two of them.
I just know I like my college professor, and I think you should read his book just because. Even though I haven't read it, I'm just throwing it out there because I know he's a good writer.
Well, did you do English in college?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was an English major.
You read Shakespeare?
Yeah.
All the Shakespeares?
I saw, it's funny because Paul Giamatti, who played Smoottus.
Yes.
We've been talking about Smoottus. I saw him play Hamlet one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at Yale. Yeah. It was
okay.
amazing. Anyways, is there anything you want to plug or promote before we get off?
Yeah, I got a show this Thursday.
BJ Ryan's in Norwalk on Thursday.
Exactly. You must have saw the Facebook post.
I did.
I
do a little research before I do these podcasts.
I appreciate that. Find a couple of pictures of me. Put them in
oh yes.
Put them in a photo album titled Kapish Stash. All right. But no. I got BJ Ryan's this Thursday. Yeah, what else do I got? I'm doing something, I'm doing a bunch of bringers. Because I'm just starting, so I'm doing a bunch of bringers. I'm doing a bringer in September 18th.
Yeah. Where's that at?
Greenwich. I think it's Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I've done that club before.
Exactly.
Nice.
And then I think the Comics Roadhouse.
Okay, there you go.
Doing that in October.
Okay.
So
Frank Morgallo or Jeff Wade show?
I think it's Frank.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So those two shows, and then BJ Ryan's Thursday. So, and I'm just gonna keep doing this open mic stuff. Hopefully, getting booked, and the most exciting part about this is that I think it's only gonna get better from here. Hopefully. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for all this stuff.
I think so too, man.
Yes.
I feel like we're gonna. How about we just since we're both into meditation, both take a deep breath and we just manifest all the good things that are gonna come in comedy, real quick. Just like on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Shook Jim Carrey's hand.
All right, I think that's good. I think all right. Okay, I think that'll do it. That'll do.
All right,
we're doing good.
1,000 Comics Podcast, best podcast in the universe.